everybody. So what's popping and dropping this week is a six-pack. And it can be a six-pack of beer, six-pack of soda, whatever you like. And this just says, beer doesn't make you fat, it makes you lean. And then you open it up and we have this cool six-pack. And it says, against bars, tables, chairs, and walls. It says, cheers, may your day be brighter. And then on here, I just want y'all to notice, I'm going to show you two different ways we can do our beer. So this way, I stuck it right against the pack. And on this way, I did it in the center. And I think I like the center better. But what I'm noticing is on this side, I wish I would have done the back too. So I think I'm going to do that on this next card, which I didn't notice. You don't have to, but I just think it would look nice. And then of course on the back we have a place to write a message, and I tried to do like some masculine colors here. So anyways, let's go ahead and head over to Design Space and get started, and I'll show you how to create this card. I'll see you there. Okay guys, now that we're here in Design Space, this is the only image you're going to need this week. It is free, and I chose this one because it was easy to change if you wanted, it to be a beer bottle or a soda bottle. You could easily change the color of it. And so if you want to get that, go ahead and go to images and grab it real quick and come on back and we'll get started. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and let's work on our card and our pretty paper. So our card is going to be a 10.5 by 6.5. So you'll just go to shapes and get a square, and then we're going to go to shapes again and get a score line. We're going to make that score line 6.5 inches long. And if you grab your score line in your card base and then go to the top and hit align center, it'll center it for you. Then you can go to the bottom and hit attach. Then for our pretty pieces of paper, we're going to have 4 sheets. They're going to be 5 by 6.25. So once we have all of those, we can grab those, group them, and move them aside. Now let's go ahead and work on our 6-pack piece that will hold our beer or soda. What we're going to do is go to shapes. We're going to get a square, and then we're going to go to shapes again and get this triangle. Okay, so we're going to make that triangle 0.944 by 0.616. We're going to place the X at 0.59 and then your Y at 0. Then that square, we're going to resize and make it 5.625 by 2.375. We're going to place the X at 0 and then your Y at 0.615. Then you're going to grab the square and the triangle, go down to the bottom and hit weld. Then we should have this piece that looks like this. So let's go ahead and right click on it and duplicate it, and then just move it to the side. Then let's go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make that score line 2.375. We're going to place the X at 0.25 and then your Y at 0.601. Then let's right click, duplicate, X at 1.875 and then the Y at 0.601. Then we can grab it all and hit attach. Then we can move this over here, and let's get this piece here. Now what we're going to do with this piece is we're going to need an additional square. So let's go to shapes and get a square. And then once we have that square, we're going to make it 3.117 by 0.623. We are going to make sure this yellow piece here, the X and the Y, is at 0. Then what we're going to do is take this piece and we're going to make the X, we're going to place it at 0.25, and then your Y at 2.976. Then you're just going to highlight the square and your yellow piece and then hit weld. And then we should have something that looks like this. And with the score line both going to be 2.375, you'll place the X at 0.25 and the Y at 0.601. Then the next one is the X is going to place at 1.875 and then the Y at 0.601. Right click on this score line, duplicate it. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We are going to make it 3.083 inches long. We're going to place on 0.25 and the Y on 3. Then we're going to grab it all and hit attach. We resize these. This one with the tab at the bottom, it needs to be 4.863 by 3.1. This top one, it needs to be 4.863 by 2.585. And then once we're done resizing those, let's go ahead and just set them aside. Now let's go to shapes. Let's get a square. We're going to make that square 4.5 by 2.125. We're going to make sure our X and Y is at 0. Go to shapes. We're going to get two of these guys and then go to shapes again and we're going to get a square. We are going to make that square 2.153 by 0.444. We're going to place the X at 1.801 and then the Y at 2.926. Our little U-shaped guy, we're going to make it 0.444 by 0.671. We're going to rotate it 90.23 degrees. Then we're going to place the X at 1.447 and then the Y at 2.921. Then with that other U shape we got, we're going to make it 0.444 and the height we're going to make it 0.671. We're going to rotate it 269.77 degrees. You're going to place the X at 3.53 and then the Y at 2.921. Then we're going to grab it all and hit weld. And you should have this nice little shape here that looks like that. We're going to take this guy that we just made and we're going to place the X at 0.863 and then the Y at 0.338. And we want to make sure our square is on X and the Y are both at 0. Now let's go to shapes and we're going to get a score line. Then we're going to go up to operation and change that to a basic cut line. Then we're going to make that 0.493 for the height. We're going to place the X at 0.375. Then let's go ahead and right click and duplicate and place the X at 4.125 and the Y at 0. Then we can right click, duplicate. We're going to make that cut line 0.707. We're going to rotate it 328.7 degrees. We're going to place the X at 4.125 and then the Y at 0.485. Then let's right click, duplicate. Then we're going to take that line. Your line should be rotated 31.3 degrees. We're going to place the X at 0 and then the Y at 0.5. Then just grab it all and go down to the bottom and hit attach. We should have something that looks like this. If you want to cut this out now, you can. It doesn't matter if you leave it in here and you just attach it. So before we go on, we need to resize this piece. And we are going to resize it to 3.89 by 1.837. We're going to make sure our X is at 0 and our Y is at 0. And then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make that score line 1.381 in height. We're going to place the X at 0.352 and then the Y at 0.444. Then we're going to right click, duplicate. The X is at 3.594 and your Y you're going to place at 0.444. Then we can grab this all and then hit attach. Now for our pretty pieces that's going to go on our carton, we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make that square 3.03 by 1.697. Then we're going to right click and duplicate, so we'll have two of those. Then we can go to shapes again and get another square. And then we're going to make that square 1.216 by 1.702. And then we're going to just right click and duplicate and we'll have these pieces. This is our little emblem that we're going to put on our box. And what I did to make that is I just went to shapes and got this guy right here and just resized them. Blue piece is 1.569 by 1.569 and then the green piece is 1.403 by 1.403. And then I just group them together and then we can right click, duplicate, and then we'll have the one for the back of it. So now we're going to get our beer bottle and let's go ahead and duplicate it so we'll have one later. Then what we're going to take and ungroup one of the bottles. Then we can get rid of everything except goldish yellow one. Then once you have the yellow one, let's go ahead and resize it to 0.967 by 3.133. Then we're going to go to shapes and we're going to get a square. We're going to make that square 4.5 by 1 inch. We're going to place the X at 0 and then the Y at 1.635. Then that first beer bottle we're going to place at 0.563 and the Y at 0. And then we're going to duplicate it again and then we're going to place the second one at 1.757 and the Y at 0. Then duplicate it and you're going to place the last one, the X at 2.938 and the Y at 0. Then we're going to grab it all and go down to the bottom and hit weld. Then we have this piece here. Now what we're going to need to do is resize our bottles. We're going to resize them to 3.89 by 2.735. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make that score line 0.865 in height. We're going to place the X at 0.324 and the Y at 1.417. Then we're going to duplicate it and then we're going to place the X at 3.53 and then the Y at 1.429. Then we're going to grab it all, go down to the bottom and hit attach. We need to right click, duplicate because we will need two of these. These are all the pieces we're going to be needing to make the basic of this card. And that's it. Don't forget to go up and save and name your project. Get all your additional pieces cut out that you would like to add to your card. And then let's head to the table and we'll show you how to put this card together. I'll see you there. So now that we are at the table, what we can do is get our card base and our pretty pieces of paper, work our score line, and put our pieces on. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now what we can do is put our bottles together for our 6-pack. I got all of my sodas put on my carton, and one thing to keep in mind, which I didn't, is if you're not using two-sided paper, on the back of this was just white, so what I did is took a marker and colored it in black, and I did the same thing also on my carton. And on this piece I just cut an additional piece and glued it together. I didn't do it on this because I didn't want to get it too thick and bulky, and the same on this. We can fold our score lines on our pieces here. So let's do that. Okay, so once you have the piece with the tab folded on it, what we can do is get you a pair of scissors, and just right here in the fold of the piece, we're going to cut a little snippet off just to the score line, okay? Just like that much right there. See that? And then from this edge, a diagonal, we're just going to make a triangle. I'm going to say about yay big. And we're going to cut up to where we snipped off. Okay? Like so. If you cut a little more or less, it's really not going to do anything. So you should have 2 points that end up looking like this. Then I'm going to fold my score lines. The point is going to be your top of your 6-pack. So I'm going to go ahead and put my decorative pieces on. Why don't we go ahead and do that? Okay, so I have my soda on both sides now. I've put my emblems and stuff on front of my little cardboard thing. So now we can put it together. So it's really not that hard of a pop-up to put together. We're going to glue this tab to this tab. Let's put a little glue on this end here and then put this on top. Okay, so for our next tab, if you lay it flat like so, and then bring your piece to the end, excuse me, that you're going to glue it to, it works out so much better. And I just move mine back and forth like so while it's a little bit wet to make sure everything is moving nicely. It's not catching or anything like that. So for this piece here, you can just fold your, if you have not done it, you can work your score line.
And this little piece right here, the tab, it lines up very nicely in our triangle right here. So just put a little glue and then line it up on the inside of your box. And then once you have it, lined up, give it a second to set. But then I do move it both ways just to make sure it's laying properly. So it should be looking like that. See my tabs in there. Okay. Let's work our score line. We have a choice of how we want it. If you notice, this one I put in the center, and then this one I glued all the way to the front of the carton. And it's really just depends on how you would like it. I am going to glue mine in the center. Here's my piece on this part, and I'm gonna make it so it matches, so it goes just below the carton. So it's like that. But I'm not gonna glue mine to the base. You can, and if you do, you just put glue on the tabs here and then line it up. So for the back piece, if you want it to be in the center, you're gonna put glue on these tabs and then just bump the edge up to this. And then again, just move it to make sure nothing is blocking it from folding correctly. And then we're just gonna do the same thing for this one. It's turning out so cute. I was kind of worried about all these colors, but I'm really liking it. I wish I would have bought another set of this pattern. It's called Uptown Flair, and I've had it for a while. And it's from Hobby Lobby, and it's the Paper Studio, their paper that they carry, their brand. And I've looked to buy another one, and I can't find one anywhere, but I just think this paper is so cute. So, to put it on, very easy, guys. Very, very simple. We got this. If you're unsure, you know what I say, use tape or something that doesn't stick permanently and try it first. So we'll line this edge in the edge of our score line. And then we'll just fold it down like so. And you can put it anywhere in your score line. Just make sure, like here, that would be too far down. So I think about right there is where I'm going to put mine. and you just bump it up in the score line of your card. So I'm going to put glue and then bring this to, and then glue it down. And then we can just do the other side. So I'm going to do this and then I'll be right back and to show you what I have come up with mine. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, so here's my card. I finished it. I just love how this turned out. All of these colors, I was really worried that it was going to be just too much, and I'm just loving it. It says your kindness is most refreshing. Does anybody know what did the soda study in college? Physiology. Then we open the card up and it says, I soda want to thank you. And look how my grape soda turned out, guys. I love it. And I'm so glad on this one I did the back. I love that much better than without anything on the back. It just makes it look a lot more three-dimensional. And then of course on the back we have a place to write a message. That's it for this week, guys, and don't forget to stop by next week to see what's popping and dropping. And I just want to say thanks so much for crafting with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.